what I think he said is, I'm worried that at some point my brain is just going to fail because of the amount of load it's under. Like how much I have to think throughout the day. Like how many like problems you have to think through. Like, it's like puzzles. It's constant puzzle solving.
Without knowing, I've never met Elon, but certainly we have common friends in you and in other people that he worked with long ago, the PayPal days, all of whom speak very highly of him and express immense admiration for the number of things that he can maintain. I think it's fair to say that he accomplishes more before 9 a.m. than most people do in a decade, it's clear, and that what he does would dissolve most people into a puddle of tears. Mostly because of this whole thing about the brain working hard equates to thinking about duration, path, and outcome and anticipating outcomes given A, B, C, or D. A lot of very scripted linear thinking and prediction. And that is hard, it's stressful, it requires intense neurochemical output. And he's doing that for multiple projects. So presumably he's buffered himself from the coffee maker issues and the little tiny issues, but he is it himself, unless there's something I don't know. He's walking around in a biological system. He is.
Yes.
That's
allegedly, yes.
Yeah, allegedly. So, and I don't want to reveal too much here, but I have a common a coworker and colleague through some contract work I do that what I can tell you is that he's accessing the best resources in terms of how to optimize his biology. And he's thinking about that, not just for himself, but for all of Neuralink. Because I think, I'm not trying to dodge the question, but I think there's the scale of the individual, but then there's the companies that he's creating. And you've got people there that you could imagine if they're working at 10% better capacity or can focus 5% better for 20% of the day, you're looking at an enormous increase in productivity and a reduction in the time to reach goals, which will reduce the amount of stress presumably on Elon, unless he goes and starts another endeavor. Right. So I think it's certainly not healthy for most people. It seems to be where he gets his dopamine hits. I'm also really struck by the fact that he has a family and he has, he's got kids growing up and a relationship and all that. So it's super impressive. I think that, I don't know, how old is Elon? He's
40, pushing 50, I think 48.
So even more impressive.
49.
Because, many people who've been at exceedingly high output for a decade or more don't do well. Their system breaks down.
Yes. Well,
I would be concerned about taking somebody who's in that regime and suddenly putting them into a regime where they don't have enough to bite down into. It's like my bulldog Costello. He's happiest when chewing and tugging with that big old neck of his. And he is just not going to become a retriever. He's not going to, he does well and gets his dopamine hits from chewing and pulling. Yeah. And it seems like Elon has ended up where he is by way of his natural leanings. Unless there's a backstory that's trauma-based or something, and I don't even begin to think that there is, it seems that he's one of those rare individuals in history that has an immense drive to create in all these different domains. I'm just saying the obvious here, but it seems like that's what makes him tick.